Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Fitzpatrick, and I've served as a superintendent here at Blackstone Valley Tech for 21 years. Rarely over those years have we asked our citizens to make a further investment or a bond or debt activity. In 2001, the 13 towns unanimously approved a $36 million expansion to our facility. This allowed us to add 3 new vocational technical programs and to add 100,000 square feet to our, at that time, existing 200,000 square feet of property. The towns were particularly supportive, and we were able to advance that. We now find ourselves at the juncture of the 10-year, halfway through, of that previously accepted debt. That enables us to pursue and investigate refinancing of the existing debt. The refinancing savings, according to the fiscal experts, have identified some $854,000 that could be in savings that could be passed on to our towns. We're always looking for opportunities of that nature. The previous debt was borrowed at around 5%, and conservative estimates have suggested that the refinancing would advance and be secured at 3.5%. We would like to pass on that savings to a new debt activity, once again allowing us to add 3 new VocTech programs, but a project of a far smaller magnitude. That project has been targeted and tallied $2.9 million. Once again, we've created debt scenarios that highlight the annual cost per town at a 3.5%. We are convinced that it's a good time to do that, that the interest in coming to our school is so great that we need to respond. We have been asked by certain finance committee members, as we were back in 2001, to look at adding vocational technical programs that would reduce the exposure the towns in our district currently have to the higher cost out-of-district tuitions to other vocational technical schools. By the way, our member towns would also be expected to provide transportation for students who leave this district to access vocational programs that are not available at Blackstone Valley Tech. We are convinced that this is a good time to do that, and therefore have proposed this action in sync with the May town meetings across our 13 towns. During the month of April, we expect that our school committee will be taking action on this to enable us to add those new programs and to present a solidly beneficial financial plan. The school committee wishes to delay any bond impact for a year, giving the towns a greater opportunity to gear up to consider this. In addition, it is our plan to take the first 2 years of the 20 years of new bond, which are the highest years in any schedule, and to rebate 50% of that cost to each town. Once again, this approach is intended to create an affordable, attractive, and achievable plan. The 3 new VocTech programs that are being proposed have been driven by confirmation with the state that they're of high placement opportunity, high interest, and they include an animal science with a concentration in veterinary assisting. We have already reached out to the Southwick Zoo people who have just celebrated the arrival of the newest giraffe on that property to enter into a partnership for that animal science program. We've also spoken to the people at Tufts University in Grafton and other of our member towns, and they have indicated they're willing to support us relative to advisory capacity. The second of the vocational technical programs is engineering. We were asked more recently to provide greater clarification on engineering. Our vocational experts identified civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and actually aerospace engineering as the sub-themes within that state-approved program. There are some people that are under the false impression that a sophisticated vocational technical program, such as the one I just described in engineering, is the equivalent or easily replicated at a traditional school. While we wish the traditional schools well in expanding their curriculum and responding to the needs of their students, the frank reality is the programs that would be offered here need to meet rigorous standards by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, commonly referred to as Chapter 74. And those programs are simply not the type of program that could be replicated outside of a vocational technical school. The third program that we've identified is a legal and protective services with a component in the area of cyber security. Each of these programs has strong interest, as I mentioned. Preliminary responses from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education is that they are looking favorably upon these programs. We will be meeting with them throughout this process to ensure, like the other 17 programs at your vocational technical school, that they are fully approvable. We've also had a series of questions that have been raised, and I've been given a list of the more common ones so that we can provide responses and a greater familiarity and a greater knowledge background for the citizens to take this action. One of the questions that's been raised are our programs targeted to adult populations? Well, it's always helpful to provide additional opportunities for adults. Our focus has been on the daytime high school age students. And the 3 new programs simply do not have an adult population targeted group. We will be focusing on recruiting students from our district in a gradual process over probably 4 to 6 years. One of the questions that's been raised is, does each town have to borrow the full amount of money? Absolutely not. One of the biggest advantages we have is that each town has 12 other partners to make a contribution. And that's true of the operational budget, but certainly true when you enter into bonds. Another question is, what about the maximum number of students that could enroll in these programs after they're fully operational? Well, we've targeted a number of 200. Somehow, some people have interpreted that we would recruit all 200 from a given community. Once again, that's simply not true. Well, it was more likely to have an impact of 2 to 3 students in a given community over the duration of the projects. So it's a very gradual activity in each of our programs. And we've designed it with sensitivity for the ability of our communities to pay, how to enhance opportunities for students, and we're delighted to see the favorable response we've received by so many people, from Congressman McGovern, from Senator Richard Moore, from Representative George Peterson, from the public at large who has sent me each day emails, phone calls, and other support, from the finance committees in most cases. We have 13 different finance committees to present because we have 13 towns. That includes 126 finance committee members. It is always challenging to create something that everyone can appeal or find appealing, but it is our approach to try to provide the merits of something and before advancing it. This project has that kind of consistency, that kind of logic, and the appropriateness. One of the other questions, I haven't yet responded to it, is about the delay in debt. And we, as I mentioned, I think the finance committees have been alerted that we are asking for no debt for the next fiscal year. And it's in fact, FY16 would be the first year of any support of this bonding. How were the rebates provided is another question that surfaced. Well, some time ago, I was fortunate enough to secure a legal settlement involving an architectural firm, and there are certain confidentiality aspects of that with the courts to satisfy the settlement. But that money has been targeted and reviewed by our auditor, and it came through construction funds, and it was recommended strongly that those dollars would be used for a project of this nature. And therefore that is in fact exactly what our school committee hopes to do, to share via the rebate process an ability for us to grow and to improve Valley Tech. Anyone who's had an opportunity to visit Valley Tech, and I encourage others to do so, will see firsthand that we take great pride, great preparation in maintaining a clean, neat environment, with a very highly productive one, but that we care about the investment that you've made in the past and as we advance this new initiative. We take care of the property and constantly look for new ways to enhance, strengthen it, and protect your investment. Question's been raised, what's the general reaction? Well, when you're working with 145,000 citizens who could conceivably vote in support of this project, the vast majority has been supportive. We appreciate the fairness of any news article, any radio show, any cable television situation that has allowed us to share this information with the public. Providing information from the source is always beneficial to make certain people have an accurate perception of a given project. What is the impact to towns? Well, each town has an apportioned cost on the basis of the regional agreement based on a 3-year average of their student enrollment. We have already secured $330,000 or more in grant requests affiliated and targeted for the 3 new programs. When we did the project in 2001 with your support, we were particularly cautious relative to operational costs. Anyone who looks at our budget over the years, from the expansion, we'll see a 2.5 type increase every year. We have been able to avoid, through creative financing and through a conservative school committee and sensitivity to the finance committees that speak with us each year, to avoid the spikes and the big, the major shifts in budgetary requests. That has been our plan. It's been our plan for 21 years. The track record speaks to itself. It continues to be our plan as we advance this project. I believe I've responded to the major questions that I've been made aware, but if in fact people have other questions, we encourage you to forward them to us via the website addresses and our phone numbers that are made available. We take our responsibility to provide you with the information very seriously, and we will continue to do so. I thank you for your support in the past, your ongoing support in the present situation, and certainly that in the future. There is always a sense that we need to do more to respond to the needs of tomorrow and tomorrow's workforce. The students come here full of enthusiasm, full of high expectations. We consistently will respond to those with your help. Thank you very much.